What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Run with Jay channel. So today we have another shoe showdown between two cushioned everyday trainer heavyweights. So we have the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V11 going up against the highly anticipated Nike ZoomX Invincible Run. So these are both great choices for max cushion everyday training shoes. So we're going to pin these shoes head to head to see which one of these shoes reigns supreme. And as usual, we're going to review these shoes between 5 different categories. And that's going to be design and features, cost and value, comfort, weight, and performance. And we're going to give each of these shoes a score of 1 to 5 for each of these categories. Then we're going to tally up the total to see which shoe reigns supreme. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. Please hit that like and subscribe button as well as the bell for notifications. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your contribution and support. So let's get this shoe showdown started. And as usual, feel free to check the links down below for the full review of these two shoes. The first category we're going to look at is design and features. So in terms of looks, both of these shoes, I think look fine to me. A lot of this is dependent on personal preference. I feel like the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run does look a little bit more futuristic. It kind of looks chunky though, in my opinion, with all the foam and cushioning, padding. However, it does look a little bit newer and futuristic, and all of this chunk of ZoomX foam does make it look interesting. In terms of feature, both of these shoes are packed with features, especially the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run. There's just a ton of cushion and padding in this shoe, which makes this probably, in my opinion, the most cushioned and comfortable running shoe Nike has made. It's so soft, and when you put your foot in right away, you can feel like almost a gel-like feeling when you're walking even. And when you're running, this shoe just provides super support and cushion that you really don't feel any pain even for long distance runs. It does definitely helps out with your legs and feet. There's tons of heel support in the back along with the heel collar and a heel clip to help you with stability. The laces are pretty standard. The Flyknit is very breathable and comfortable. The tongue is also super padded, neoprene, very comfortable as well. And there's also the reflective design in the front of the shoe to help with seeing you at night. And of course, we can't not talk about the huge amount of ZoomX foam down here in the midsole, which is Nike's proprietary foam that they use for all of their high-end shoes. This foam, in my opinion, is my favorite foam. It's just so cushioned, springy and bouncy, and it's just so comfortable to run in. The durability has always been a question, but I feel like this foam should last a while, especially with this amount of foam on it. On the bottom of the shoe, it has your typical waffle design pattern on the shoe. After a few runs already, I've noticed some of the studs wearing away, especially on the edges of the shoe. If you heel strike often, or you use the heels of your shoes. So that's something of a concern. So hopefully the shoe will last long, but I think this shoe should last at least 200 miles, if you use it regularly. But other than that, I think the shoe is designed very well, has tons of new features, and it makes a great max cushion everyday training shoe. The New Balance is good as well. It looks very similar to previous models. The Fresh Foam is very comfortable, soft and good energy return, but just not as soft compared to the ZoomX foam. I don't think there's a comparison between the two foams. It's just one is just way softer and cushiony compared to the other. This heel design elf-like heel design is very interesting. It definitely makes it easy to get your foot in. There's so much padding in the back as well for comfort, and there's also a little heel clip in the back as well for stability. The end design on the shoe is reflective as well, so that helps with seeing you in darker times. It also has a ortholite insole in the shoe, which provides additional comfort. The tongue is padded, but not as padded as the Nike shoe for sure. The Flyknit is also very standard. I didn't have any issues with it. It's very comfortable. And the shoe comes in different sizes and widths, so if you're to fit everybody's feet sizes. And the laces are pretty standard. So, the Fresh Foam is very nice. That's where, the main action of the shoe is. It's good, very comfortable, soft, but just not as soft as the ZoomX foam. So in terms of durability, the bottom with these hexagonal studs, rubber studs, these should last you a long while. I didn't have any issues seeing it anywhere, even after a few runs. So this shoe should definitely get you some good mileage. So in terms of scoring, I'm going to give the New Balance a score of a 3.5 and the ZoomX Invincible run a score of a 4 just because of all the features and that ZoomX foam you just can't ignore. The next category we're going to look at is cost and value. So in this category is where I scratch my head. The Nike ZoomX Invincible run with everything that's in it is a little bit expensive for $180. When you're at that price range, you're almost at racing shoes for some of the other companies. But for Nike, they pretty much always charge whatever they want, and they can pretty much raise the price. When you're looking at 180, you're looking at things like the Temple Next Percent, the Zoom Fly 3, the Pegasus Turbo 2, which are all meant for fast and marathon training. It's kind of tempo shoes. But however, this shoe, although you could definitely use it for tempo or fast runs, I feel like it's more intended for slower recovery runs or long mileage runs, in my opinion. So for $180, I feel like it's a little bit too expensive. In my personal preference. The New Balance shoe comes in at $150. I guess that's a little bit more reasonably priced for everyday trainer. It is still, in my opinion, a little bit more expensive. I would expect the everyday trainer price to be around $120, $130. But then there's other shoes that's in that price range from both of these brands. So in terms of price, cost, and value, I feel like with the $30 difference, it's definitely a lot, and you'll definitely get more in terms of $150 spending on this. But the $30 difference, if you're a fan of the ZoomX foam and you want a really max cushion, comfortable shoe, then the ZoomX Invincible, in my opinion, is probably the most comfortable, softest, and springiest, squishiest foam on the market today. So. But if you're just looking for an everyday trainer that's comfortable, soft, bouncy, that'll give you energy return, the New Balance 1080 V11 is definitely a cheaper option. It'll do exactly what you need. And if you want even a cheaper option, you can go with last year's model, which is under $100, and it pretty much does the same thing. And some people actually like last year's version better. So in terms of scoring for cost and value, I'm going to give the New Balance a score of a 3.5 and the ZoomX Invincible run a score of a 3, just because you get more bang for your buck for $150 compared to the $180 of the ZoomX Invincible. So after 2 rounds, both of these shoes are tied with a score of 7. The next category we're going to look at is comfort. So comfort-wise, like I said before, there's really nothing that compares to the ZoomX Infinity Run right now on the market in terms of squishiness and softness of the shoe. In my opinion, this is probably the softest shoe that Nike has ever made, and springiest and most comfortable shoe, in my opinion. There's just so much cushion and padding. As you can tell by the shoe, maybe in this colorway, the shoe is so beefy, and that's because of all of the padding and cushion pretty much everywhere in the shoe. Just walking around, you can feel that gel-like feeling in the shoe. Feels very like the RC Elite with the foam, how squishy it is, but this takes it to a whole nother level. So it has that squishiness, comfort, as well as stability to go with it. The New Balance shoe is comfortable as well. The Fresh foam is soft. Definitely not as soft as the ZoomX foam. Overall ride is very comfortable in the back. With this neoprene kind of heel elf-like design is also with the padding inside. So no issues with comfort there. But just overall scoring, I'm going to have to give this win over to the Invincible Run just because that shoe is just amazing in terms of comfort. So in terms of scoring, I'm going to have to give the New Balance a score of a 4 and the ZoomX Invincible a max score of 5. So after 3 rounds, the score is still kind of close, with the 1080 trailing the Nike Invincible Run with a score of 11 to 12. The next category we're going to look at is weight. So weight-wise, both of these shoes weigh pretty much identical for both sizes, 8.5. They weigh about 9.3 ounces. So they're not the lightest shoe out in the market. And some might say 9 ounces for a shoe like this might be a little bit too heavy. The reason for all of the weight is because of all the cushion and padding, all the stuff that they put on the shoe compared to your racing shoes, which are very light. They're kind of minimal. They strip pretty much everything and put in just exactly what you need. So these are intended for everyday running, in my opinion, and for a lot of mileage. So they're meant to last a long time. So putting that, with that said, they're going to put a lot of stability, cushion, and padding and extras on these shoes, so you can use it every day and for long miles without it wearing out quickly. So weight-wise, both of these, there's nothing that really separates both of these shoes. They're in the 9 ounce range. As it is heavy in my opinion, but it's intended to give you max cushion, everyday mileage, and also it's supposed to last you a long time. So I'm not going to complain about that. There's a lot of shoes out there, and they're all intended for different purposes. And Nike did make this shoe also to help prevent injuries. Maybe that's why they put all of these features in it, like the heel area, as well as the cushion, and also the ZoomX foam, which is super bouncy and comfortable. New Balance as well, very comfortable, soft, fresh foam. I really like it. So in terms of weight, both of these shoes get a score of a 3, since the weight is pretty much identical on both of these shoes. So after 4 rounds, the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run is still leading the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V11 with a score of 15 to 14. The last round to decide it all will be performance. Performance-wise, I think you're going to get exactly what you expected from both of these shoes. They're both cushioned, long distance everyday trainers that you could use for pretty much everything. The Invincible Run is great. I love how soft and comfortable and squishy the foam is. The only thing, that worries me is the durability. After a few runs on the shoe, the bottom does have some wear already on the studs. So, I'm concerned that the shoe will wear down pretty quickly, especially with the outsole. I didn't have any issues with the New Balance shoe. This shoe is pretty solid on the bottom, very good traction, and it looks like it'll last a lot of miles. There's also no creasing on the Fresh foam as well compared to the Nike foam, where you would see some creasing on the foam, which is pretty standard. So taking that into account, both of these shoes are great choices for everyday running and for people that would like very soft cushioned shoe. I'm going to give this slight advantage over to the Invincible Run simply because of how the shoe is built and how comfortable it is, and how soft it is for overall performance. Definitely helps with making your feet and legs less tired for longer mileage runs and overall performance. So I'm going to give a score of a 3.8 for the ZoomX Invincible Run, and the New Balance 1080 I'm going to give a score of 3.5. So the scores are in, and we have a winner. And the winner of this shoe showdown is the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run, taking the victory with a score of 18.8 to the New Balance 1080 with a score of 17.5. So both of these shoes, although similar, is very different in my opinion. The ZoomX Invincible is just on another level in terms of comfort, cushion, and support. The New Balance is a great shoe as well for everyday trainer with a lot of cushion and comfort, but the ZoomX Invincible puts it at a whole nother level. It just makes running so comfortable and fun again, and it is, like I said before, the softest shoe that Nike has ever made, in my opinion. And a lot of people have been waiting for all-purpose trainer with all these ZoomX foam, so it finally has arrived this year, and people were waiting for it even last year for this shoe to come out. So I'm finally happy to see it here. It definitely lives up to the hype, and it is a very comfortable shoe. I'll probably use it after a while for just walking because of how much I like the ZoomX foam and how squishy it is. Not taking anything away from the New Balance, but that shoe is still well built. It's a lot cheaper, $30 less in my opinion. So you're definitely going to get bang for your buck with that shoe. If you just want a comfortable, everyday trainer shoe, you can definitely get it for that. I personally will probably get last year's version for less than $100, which does essentially the same thing. And it's a lot of people seem to like that better. So both of these shoes are great, very nicely designed by both of these companies. For if you want a shoe that's max cushion, it gives you a lot of comfort and support for everyday running and long runs and recovery runs. They're both great options, but in my personal preference, I would choose the ZoomX Invincible. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what do you guys think of these two shoes, if you prefer one over the other, or if you guys have any other comments, feedback, please feel free to leave them down below. I hope you guys are all staying safe and your training's going well, and I'll talk to you guys on the next shoe showdown.